You're watching NewsX. I'm Udar Pratap Singh. Our big focus on the broadcast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in his Lok Sabha constituency of Varanasi. He's offered prayers at the Kashi Vishwanath temple ahead of filing his nomination for the polls. Additionally, he's also held a mega road show where 1 lakh plus enthusiastic crowd is gathered to show their support. We were on the ground a while back giving you viewers a flavor of what's going on. We've spoken to a host of people who hail from different parts of the country and practice different faiths, and all of them have hailed the Vikas done in Varanasi. In terms of development, Varanasi has undergone a sea of change with the Kashi Vishwanath corridor, the construction of ring roads, the enhancement of road and bridge networks, the establishment of a cancer hospital, and as well as a cricket stadium. The focus on cleanliness, especially in Kashi, has won hearts across the constituency. Moreover, the removal of overhead power cables has also enhanced the city's aesthetic appeal, leading to improved living conditions and safety standards. Merely 3 weeks are left till the voters in Varanasi will cast their mandate, and all eyes are on whether the electorate will repose their faith in the Prime Minister on the basis of his development track record or not. Joining us at this point is Rishi Bagri, political analyst. We also have Mithali Nikore, economist, joining us live. Abhijit Sinha, project director, National Highways for EVs, also joins us live. GC Tripathi, former Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University, is also joining the broadcast. Let me make a start with you, Rishi Bagri. To what extent has the development of Varanasi taken place in the last 10 years, and which are the sectors which have most impressed you and others? Rishi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Did you hear my question?
I heard your question. You need to understand. You need to understand the Kashi, the Varanasi, which we call. I mean, the biggest sector which got actually traction was the tourism. I mean, after the building of the Kashi corridor, I mean, 13 crore tourists has come to the place. Instead of 1 crore tourism, almost 12 to 13x more tourism has come just because of this Kashi corridor happened, and that actually created a 1,000 crore revenue for the particular city. And approximately it gave employment to almost 1 lakh people, local employment, just by building one Kashi corridor. But then we are not only talking about the religious tourism, we are talking about a lot of other things which which Varanasi has benefited because of the PM Modi. One is the international stadium, which has just happened, the connectivity surge, which we can see in the metro rail, Varanasi Balia Expressway, Airport Expressway. Then we can also see a lot of economic things which has happened, like textiles, handicraft, tourism. I mean, if you remember, if you remember, they have just started a lot of new things. I mean, the 3-lane flyover bridges in the Varanasi Gazipur highway, convention center, which is a Rudraksh, which is actually going to make Varanasi a very attractive destination to have a conference capital in that particular region. Then you also need to see the kind of cleanliness you have seen in the Varanasi. Varanasi also got an advanced sewage treatment plant of 10 MLD, which has actually, this mega sewage has actually make sure that not a single drop of water go to River Ganga without getting untreated. So this is the kind of cleanliness, this is the kind of attraction which is PM Modi has made about Varanasi. So this is how I feel that Varanasi is going to be a very different place if PM Modi stays there as a 5 more years as an MP out there.
Absolutely. And Mithali Nikore, all of this has, of course, impacted the local economy, hasn't it? These efforts, of course, to bring in more tourism and this overall development and infrastructure push has uplifted the economy of the region and the area, hasn't it? Mithali, can you hear me? Okay, I think we've lost her connection, but let me take that across to Abhijit Sinha on the local economics, the infrastructure push, good roads, good connectivity always, of course, aids the local economy, doesn't it, Abhijit? And the tourists increase, and of course the pilgrims increase has also helped the local economy, hasn't it?
Hi and good evening. It's a very good evening for people who are in Varanasi. They got to see Prime Minister in person today, and wonderful vibe across the city. I belong to a place, very close to Varanasi, Sasaram, and we have seen Varanasi growing over a period of time. We used to come here for queues and a lot of competition, that inter-school and inter-college competitions. Over a period of time, if you look at Varanasi today, it has not grown only into the cultural tourism, wellness tourism, or religious tourism. It has also grown to an base point, because if you look at the train line from Calcutta to Delhi, the Varanasi does not come on the main track. It is in on the side track. There has to be a diversion from Mughal Sarai, and then Varanasi comes into it. But after the recent development into the road sector, particularly not only road sector, but also into the metro and other infrastructure, if you will see Varanasi airport, or now the connectivity with Ganga Express, you will be able to see that in previous government, if you conclude only expressways in UP regime, you will see two expressways: Yamuna Expressway 165 kilometer and Agra Expressway 302 kilometer. These are the two expressway that the state had. If you total up, it will be less than 600 kilometers. And alone in the regime of new government, crossing from Varanasi and other 14 expressways, if you see, the total length of these 14 expressways is 3,200 kilometers. And out of these 3,200 kilometers, people will say, I'm saying something which is also under construction. So 1,800 kilometers might be under construction, still 1,300 kilometers are today operational. And Ganga Raj Expressway is one of the longest one. It is crossing from Varanasi. It is connecting all mode of transport with the city. And if you ask about economic development, not only roads, but on 10th March of this year, when Prime Minister inaugurated 15 new airports. Out of these 15 new airports, 5 of them were in Uttar Pradesh. And these were Chitrakoot, Moradabad, Aligarh, Azamgarh, Saraswati. This makes Uttar Pradesh having 8 more airports connected, which are currently operational: Agra, Lucknow, Varanasi, Gorakhpur, Kanpur, Bareilly, Prayagraj. And the recent one, Ayodhya, which has been recently become operational. So look at a state where there are more than 14 to 15 airports, 8 cities who are operating metro networks, and more than 3,200 kilometer expressways, national expressways. So in this, if you look at from Calcutta to Delhi, the main corridor, economic corridor, or you can say business corridor, Varanasi has become benefited in both ways. From the religious side, from the cultural side, if you ask me the books, 2,200 crore, 22 crore rupees was the religious department budget of Uttar Pradesh in 2012-2013. Today, it is more than 500 crore rupees. And I'm not including the expenditure that UP government does on the Kumbh Mela. If I include that, it will cross 1,500 crore rupees. So how Varanasi is placed in all between, but it was neglected. Now people who have seen this development into last 2 terms, I'm sure that each and every person in Varanasi is very, very much, they feel lucky that Prime Minister selected this constituency to contest election. He would have contested from any constituency, and it's not a big deal for him to get a victory. But after Gujarat, when he came, and in last 2 terms, these development which concluded, it's giving a statement of Virasat, it's giving a statement of economic development, infrastructure development, and now also the industrial development across the city.
Yes, GC Tripathi, come in here on your take, of course, on the development that has happened. Which sector has impressed you the most? Which area of Vikas in Kashi has stood out for you, GC Tripathi? Mr. Tripathi, can you hear me? Okay, I think we've lost him there. Rishi Bagri, let me bring you in. We often heard of the Gujarat model of development. When the Prime Minister was at the helm of affairs in Gujarat, that Gujarat model, of course, was spoken about by the BJP a lot in the run-up to the 2014 elections. And that did help, the party win at the end of the day with, of course, Narendra Modi as their PM candidate. Now, interestingly, we are seeing a deja vu moment with the Gujarat model of development now taking a backseat in the Varanasi model of development actually being talked about a lot, and many other regions of the country are looking at how they can also imbibe this Varanasi model of development, particularly places of Hindu pilgrimage and other sites of significance as well. So do you believe that this has really become now a Kashi model of development that people want to replicate?
Vinit, you need to understand the Gujarat model and the Varanasi model are two different models. You cannot compare a city to a state and a state to a city. But then again, we need to understand that there was a very fierce debate कि भाई development है कि आप temple बनाओगे कि develop बनाओगे. Now, what PM Modi has actually demonstrated that by or by broadening a temple or by making a temple bigger, you can attract more pilgrims, and in fact, you can generate more jobs. Corridor. Before and after the statistics of Kashi corridor, you can see the numbers of pilgrims have surged almost 12x. And when you have this kind of religious tourism coming to your city, obviously the city benefits. The city, the hotels benefits, the lodges benefit, all the restrooms benefit, the gas benefits, the transportation benefits. So everything benefits a lot. So that create a very big, income for the local citizens out here. And this is exactly what happened in the Varanasi. So Varanasi model is very different. Then again, you don't see Varanasi only as also emerging as a cultural tourism. This is exactly what PM has done with Kashi Tamil Samagam. The Varanasi was city of Varanasi used to create a bridge between the southern part of the India to the northern part of the India with the help of this old connection of Varanasi with Tamil Nadu, and that was leveraged and that was highlighted, and it become a very interesting cultural basically a cultural confluence in the country which has happened. So a lot of things are happening. Then you can see the cleanliness of the ghats which are happening, because Varanasi is the one of the city which attract a lot of foreign tourism. So you need to also see that foreign tourism tourists, when they come and they visit the city and they see the cleanliness, this give a first impression to the country. So you need to also see this thing. So a lot of things are happening in that way, and the kind of infrastructure which is happening, like my co-panelist is talking about the Ganga Expressway, Yamuna Expressway, all the expressway, those few of them are actually touching Varanasi. This are actually able to have a spillover tourism. Now, if somebody goes to Kumbh, they will definitely want to go to Varanasi, or somebody wants to go to Varanasi, they will definitely want to go to Ayodhya because they are very nearby, and with good connectivity, it just takes 2 or 3 hours to reach each or other the next city. So this actually created a lot of spillover tourism which is happening in Uttar Pradesh just because of the good roads and good connectivity. So this is how I think the PM Modi has emphasized how he can take on the Varanasi model. And I think Gujarat model is quite different. Gujarat is more of an industrial model which is happening, a model which he has perfected. The model, he has actually done it very nicely. He has gave a very good delivery on that thing. So obviously Gujarat model can be compared with the Uttar Pradesh, but it cannot compare with the Varanasi because Varanasi is a small city compared to the Gujarat. So
let me bring in Mithali Nikore. Mithali Nikore is also back with us now on the broadcast. Mithali, I was trying to get you in here earlier on the economic upliftment of the region of Varanasi through the development work done and through, of course, the efforts by the Prime Minister in the last 10 years. What have been the economic impact of the work that has been carried out in the temple city?
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Uday. And, I think if we look at the current situation and where we were and where we are, over this decade, there are 3 very important interventions that have taken us so far, when we look at this Kashi model of development. The first one actually started with the one district, one product initiative. One of the most distinguishing features of Varanasi is Banarsi handloom. And Banarsi handloom is the mainstay for women across the country when they are getting married, when, whether it's Banarsi saris, whether it's Banarsi lehengas, whether now today, the product diversification in Banarsi fabrics and Banarsi goods is just absolutely phenomenal. The amount of skill training that has happened, the amount of marketing channels that have opened, the exports of Banarsi fabric, etc., that are taking place, of Banarsi goods that are taking place, is just absolutely phenomenal. And that has happened thanks to the ODOP and one district one product policy, which has really shed light on the supply chain of Banarsi goods, first of all. So that's number one. Number two is the investment in transport infrastructure. When we look at the investment in the Varanasi metro, that is actually changing the face of how, I have been stuck in traffic jams in Varanasi for 1.5 hours at one point, like 4 5 years ago, and now that's already decongesting. There are parts of the city that are now well connected, because with the advent of increased tourism and with the advent of increased investment promotion activities, Varanasi had started to become very congested, and the metro is now working on the decongestion of the city. The third aspect, which of course everybody has talked about, is around religious tourism. But I would like to point out that it's beyond religious tourism. It's exactly how Rishi said, it's part of a tourist circuit, right? But it's also about the monuments, the history, and of course the religion, but giving that as a package and providing that to a lot of foreign tourists, not just domestic tourists. Varanasi has the highest number of foreign tourists in India, at 1 million foreign tourist arrivals every year. And the city has been able to capitalize on this. But I think the fourth and last thing I would point out is sanitation infrastructure. Across the city, you see Swachh Bharat being implemented, and you see that it's being beautified, it's being cleaned up, and that also has a huge impact on So if you're talking about those distinguishing features of the Varanasi model of development, I would say it's handloom and handicrafts, it's sanitation, it's transport, and it's the tourism industry.
Okay, let me take that across to GC Tripathi as well, if he can hear me now. GC Tripathi, can you hear me now? Okay, I think we've lost him again, unfortunately. All right, let me go back across to Abhijit Sinha. Abhijit Sinha, also, the vision for the Prime Minister is pretty clear, that he does plan to continue this development push for Kashi for the next 5 years as well. We've seen how he's, done a roadshow today, seeking a mandate of people of Varanasi for a third successive term. The optics are, of course, there. It's quite a privilege for many people to have the Prime Minister as their local candidate, their local MP. So the vision for the next 5 years pretty set out as well, do you believe? In PM Modi's minds, in the BJP's minds?
Of Uttar Pradesh, particularly Varanasi, then little bit going back in the past when CM Yogi took over and Prime Minister, it was a constituency of Prime Minister. So that is why it is called double engine Sarkar. And at this stage of time, we knew that Varanasi is going to be an important place, all of these aspects. But we were not knowing how CM Yogi is going to take it. Economic reform, I would say, when UP was changing its image from the previous governments, which were known for notorious law and order issues. CM Yogi took a step to decide 5 Varanasi, Lucknow, Kanpur, Agra, and Greater Noida for becoming the landing space destination of the FDI. And this FDI, when you talk about Varanasi, there was very significant and very structured reforms were required. And it was only possible if people will trust government, because right from changing the infrastructure landscape of city, which used to have very congested, streets and people who were supposed to be migrated from one place to another place, they needed a certain type of trust on the leadership that, okay, something after this flyover or something after the expansion of this road will come for them, which will turn out to be beneficial. People trusted in the first term, and that term, I would say, is the term of reform. Now, this next second term in 2019 to 2024, the second term converted into perform. So a lot of infrastructure, which rightly Mitali said, is now coming up, metro, flyover. There were a lot of issues with the narrow streets and expansions which we needed for making it an international destination of investment. third term where you are taking me and we are asking that whether we are having right ingredient for making Varanasi an international investment destination for Uttar Pradesh, not only Uttar Pradesh but also for India, is realistic or not. So I would say the first term that has given people hope. Second term was the term of after reform. It was a hope of performance. That is perform. This has given them a development. This has given them a trust. And the third term, where Prime Minister now campaigning today spoke about it also in Varanasi, is the guarantee. A person at his level, a person at his stature, would not do or would not announce anything until and unless he is reasonably sure about it. So if he is saying that there are states, there are cities, there are economics and emerging technologies, emerging development markets, which are going to make India third largest economy, and I'm ready to give you the guarantee, then he is saying it with the full conviction. And I would say about not only about Varanasi, but about Uttar Pradesh, that's the only state which is today challenging the entire nation, saying, I will create $1 trillion economy alone. एक ऐसा प्रदेश है जो पूरे सभी राज्यों में ताल ठोक के बोल रहा है कि मैं 1 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी खुद बना दूंगा. So in tomorrow's time, if you see somebody from Lucknow saying that I am the commercial capital of India, once this is coming and once this is coming close to reality, and all ingredient reform to perform to transformation are in place, people have given their complete trust in the second term, and now this transformation, I would say I know a lot of things about infrastructure, and I can say only 20 to 30% projects are till date delivered in Varanasi. There are 70% more projects yet to come. There are periphery expressways, there are national expressways, there are e-highways, there are models of hydrogen. So recently, UP has also opened a hydrogen policy where people will get 1 rupee, 1 acre land piece in 1 rupees, and also an involvement of 40% capex will be borne by the state if they become. So if you look at Delhi and Calcutta to become an hydrogen corridor, then UP will become a very significant place where hydrogen economy is going.
So what we've seen is the trailer. You're saying there's a lot more still to come. Do you agree with that, Rishi Bagri? That the vision of the Prime Minister is very clear for Varanasi. He doesn't just say it when he compares it to Kyoto. He actually does it, as we've seen through the projects actually implemented on ground. And perhaps there's a lot more for the constituents of Varanasi, whom the Prime Minister is seeking a third consecutive term from for the next 5 years as well.
Uday, the execution of his work. I mean, if you see the Amul's Banas diary, he has executed it. Varanasi Azamgarh way, he has executed it. So Sultanpur Varanasi highway, it has executed it. 6-lane bridge to the Kamnapur river, it has executed. So all the infrastructure has been executed, and he has done also the Shilanyas of many projects like Varanasi Kolkata Expressway. Then we have a Bhel railway manufacturing plant. Then we have a NIFT Varanasi new education institutes which are coming. New medical college in Pandyapur Varanasi is coming. So center for aging which is again coming. So a lot of things are definitely in the pipeline. So what you have seen in the first 10 years, I think you will see something more than what you have seen in 10 years. You will see 5 years. So that is very important because you need to understand Varanasi is privileged to have a prime minister like Modi. And obviously, if you have a prime minister like Modi, you have your own perks. You have a perks where the executions get more speedier and you get more pie of shares in your kitty because you are sending a prime minister. So obviously that preferential treatment, I think Varanasi will always get if Modi is a prime minister from Varanasi. So that is one thing which is going to happen. And secondly, I think a lot of things are happening. I mean, the kind of expansion which is happening by the railway. If you see the terminal, it has get expanded to cater 6 million people. So a lot of things are happening every day. Some of the other projects is coming to the Varanasi, and that is going to help and generate job, it is going to boost the local economy and the local people. So this is a very, also having a very spillover effect in the eastern part of the UP, which was traditionally quite economically backward. So if you see, this particular region is now becoming the torchbearer in the economic revolution in the Uttar Pradesh, and this is a very interesting thing which is going to happen going forward. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll give 30 seconds to Mitali Nikore as the last word, and then I have to take a break. The road ahead for Varanasi. Mitali.
To just point out about Nari Shakti, I think it's women of Varanasi who are now being given a lot of opportunities to lead their own businesses, to start their own businesses, and that is going to take Varanasi into the next generation, women-led development.
Thank you to all of our panelists for joining us on this special discussion. We are slipping into a very short break. We're back on the other side with lots more. Stay tuned to NewsX.